Today's stock is an important one because, in my opinion, it represents an opportunity for investors. But for us investors, we need to understand why the company is down in the past 6 months, and are these events going to repeat and keep putting downward pressure on the company, or is it going to go higher? So, what went wrong actually? So, before we do that, we're at 98, two more, and we hit 100. So, go ahead and do that, please. Obviously, from the title, you can see we're talking about the BNB, Airbnb stock, a stock that is considered by most investors on Wall Street as a travel stock. And a hotel stock. So it's between both. Even hotel stocks are considered travel stocks. So it's a mix between both. So when you see Southwest Airlines, Carnival Cruise get some downward pressure, you will see some downward pressure on Airbnb, and on the upside it's a similar thing. So if you see Southwest going up and all these airlines going up, Delta, whatever, and Airbnb also tends to go up, except if there's news particular to Airbnb that affects the company in a major way, then you'll obviously it will break trend. If you consider the travel industry an industry you want to invest in and you want to limit your risk, because Airbnb tends to have a bit higher risk than other companies, you can invest in this HOTL ETF, which has 8% of its holding in Airbnb, and it also has safer stocks such as Vici. 10% of its holding are in 12%, sorry, are in Vici, 10% in Marriott, 9% in Hilton. So these are all the big hotels that you will be investing in if you invest in HOTL. It's an easier way to invest because you're limiting your risk and you limit the headache of constantly watching Airbnb news and constantly being up to date of what the company is doing. Because at one point, if you remember, before its IPO, the company was about to go bankrupt. And if you're unaware of that and the company goes bankrupt, you will lose much more money than if you were aware of the situation and what was happening with the company. That's why investors always need to stay on their toe. But personally, I believe the Airbnb app is fundamentally solid. It works. It's really well designed and it's well marketed. Everybody knows about it. Even my grandma knows about it, and she's not alive. Here I'm trying to present the experience side of the website. Obviously, you can see it on the application too. It's where people, local hosts, tend to host some events. I personally booked through Airbnb Experience. What I booked was a helicopter ride from Toronto Toronto Airport to Niagara Falls. It was very cheap for a helicopter ride. It only costed me 200 per person. We were three, so it ended up being 600 for all three of us. And it was a really good experience, and I booked it through Airbnb, which makes the application and the website and the company more attractive because it's not solely based on booking hotels or booking rooms for you, but also it can grow and you can book experiences through the app. So it's expanding its business model and it's growing. So if it keeps on doing more and more innovative stuff like that, it's a good thing for investors because it's going to diversify the revenue at the same time. Now, if we analyze surfacefully or a surface level analysis of the quarterly earnings of Airbnb stocks, you can see that the company beat every comp possible by a large percentage. And also, you can see the growth. It grew net income by 98%. All the other companies we've been viewing have been trending downwards for their earnings, but this one is doing exceptionally well. And obviously, you can see it's doing well for one reason, and it's because the comps from last year were really bad because everything was shut down. Their numbers then were really horrible. But now what they did is that everything reopened, and when everything reopened, they were able to capitalize on that new market, and they did it really well. So that shows how good the management is and how good the service itself is. It's not that, for example, if everything reopened and the comps weren't that good, they still could have only gained 10-15%, but they ended up beating every expectation possible and growing at 100% their net income, their profit margin. So when the profit margins grew, that means even though they were marketing or even though they were doing so many, so many, so many business moves, they ended up still being net positive. But obviously not net positive, but positive in the growth. So why is Airbnb down by such a large percentage in the past 6 months? And I'm pretty sure for the past year, since IPO, it's down a lot. Okay, so I remember it IPOing at 60, but retail investor did not get anything near 60 or 90. It ended up being, if I see it correctly, it IPO'd at 139 for retail investors. For the Wall Street investors, it was really much better, 60. And even those who hosts Airbnb host had a they could have bought $15,000 worth of Airbnb share on IPO at IPO price, which was 65, I believe, which is incredible, and that's a really good thing they did. They were helping their host make money, and I'm sure even to this day they've made significant amount of money. They've actually doubled their money, but I'm sure most of them sold on IPO day, which was like 140. And if somebody held it, they held it around it, and it's high. And if he sold near high, it was near $200, which is a triple up. What's causing it to go down every day or for the past 6 months and for the past year is people aren't really sure about the health crisis that's happening right now. People are afraid of a sixth wave because China is seeing a sixth wave. They're closing everything down. So people are really afraid of shutdown. They're also afraid of some investors are also afraid that the company might not keep up these growth numbers because comps are higher this year, and they have a distrust in management. Not a distrust that the management can't perform, but they cannot perform at such a high level. So this is really up to the management to do, and how they expand their business model, how people view the application, who view the website, and view their experience side too, because that's the real main growth component of the equation. Also, recently, yesterday actually, Yahoo Finance announced that Netflix got down 150 US based job after losing subscribers. So after bad earnings, they were unable to sustain this amount of employee number. So they had to cut down jobs. And if other companies tend to do that, because a lot of companies had bad earnings, and their bad earning can lead to employee losing their jobs. And if employees keep losing their job, it could spiral up. And if it spirals, unfortunately, it might lead to a recession. Not a very big recession or a very big recession. Nobody knows. That's what investors are fearful. So it's only 150 jobs. During COVID, I was seeing like 1,500, 2,000 jobs being lost. But every single day, companies were releasing news that they were laying off employees, which was unfortunate, which led to a recession. But the government came and saved everybody, and everybody was thankful to the government for their PPP checks and for the stimulus checks. It ended up saving. But if this time nobody expects, and most likely it won't happen, if employee lose jobs, and a lot of employees loses a job, it might cause a recession, and it might cause the economy not to grow as much as it should, or even start shrinking, because it's such a big economy. It can start shrinking, and the GDP goes down. The S&P and the Dow will face a lot of negativity, which will unfortunately lead a lot of stocks to go down 20, 30%, even 50%. And already we've seen that, but another 50% on top of what's happening right now, which can be devastating for investors. So keep that in mind. Play it safe. Like I said, there's HOTL, which would be a better risk reward opportunity, because the risks is low, and right now we're in a fearful market, so you want to limit your risk. If we were in a bullish market like in 2020, I would have maybe said buy Airbnb stocks and let's do it, because I bought it, I sold it, I bought it once again, and I sold it, and every time I sold it, it was in profit. Now I'm not saying I know the future, but I was seeing the bullishness in the market, and I knew every time it was going to go down, it was going to go up. But right now, I don't know what's going to happen, or I have a time frame, but I cannot justify it, because nothing and no prediction can be justified until it happens. So good luck, and we need to hit 100, so let's get it.